Hi, this is artist Kendra Fleischman and welcome to the studio. So today we're going to do some weaving. We're going to start out with paper weaving, and then in my next video we're going to move on to doing some weaving with yarn. So to get us started, I know some of you have never done any weaving before, so we're going to do a pretty simple one, and then I'm going to show you a way to make it just a little bit more difficult. And then for those of you who want a challenge, we'll take a look at this one. All right, let's get started. We're going to need a paper cutter if you have it. This is not absolutely necessary, but if you've got one, it's going to make things a little easier. A straight edge, pencil, scissors, and some construction paper in different colors. So to start off, we're going to make the strips of paper. So you need to choose two different colors that are very opposite. So let's do yellow and green. Those are pretty opposite. So choose which one you want to cut into strips. And then using a paper cutter, or if you don't have a paper cutter, just use scissors and maybe draw straight lines on there. Now, to make it easier, cut your strips bigger. If you want to make it more challenging, cut your strips really, really narrow. So I'm going to cut 1-inch strips, just to make it a little bit easier. Okay, so now I have the strips and I've got my paper that I'm going to be weaving into. So the reason I cut them short, along the short side, is so that they match up this way on this paper. Okay, so let's start weaving. Okay, so before we start to weave, we need to fold this paper in half. And now you have a folded side and you have an open side right here. You're going to draw a line on the open side, not on the folded side. So take your straight edge, you can just line it up like so, and just make a line across. So now I have my line here, this is the open side. Turn your paper around, and again, using your straight edge, go ahead and make lines that go from this line to the fold. Now I'm using the ruler, the width of the ruler, as my guide. This is going to be a super easy to weave piece. This I would recommend for kids, or for adults who've never done this and need to have a little practice before you try a more complicated one. Now, the ruler may not be exact at the end here. You could measure it out if you want to make sure it's exact. What I'm going to do is just kind of estimate where the halfway is on this one. And yes, this strip is going to be smaller than over here. But for this, for our demonstration, this will work just fine. Okay, so now I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut, and I'm going to stop when I get to the line. So I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so when we unfold it, and we have all of our little strips here, and they're connected at the top and they're connected at the bottom. So now we can take the paper strips that we cut previously, and we're going to start to weave. So you go over the first one, under the next one, then over and under, and you just keep repeating that all the way across. once you get it in there, you're going to want to snug it down to the bottom. Now, I didn't cut far enough on this one, and I'm having a little issue there. So I'm going to take this out, close this back up, take my scissors. There we go. All right. So let's do that again. I'm going to go over the first one, under the next one. Now it's really loose, so push it down to the edge. There we go. Now that lines up really nicely. Now the next strip is going to go opposite. So we went over here, it's on top of the green. So this yellow one's going to go underneath the green on the next one. And then the next one, we went underneath here, so now the yellow one needs to go on top of a green, and then under the next green strip, and then just keep doing the opposite. Okay, so that's the simple weaving. Pretty cool. Sometimes you could use this if you wanted to make your own checkerboard and come up with your own game. That could be fun, or it's just a nice pattern. So, you say this is too easy. All right, well, let's try a more challenging one. Okay, for those of you who are screaming for a challenge, you want this to be more difficult, let's go ahead and take 2 more pieces of paper that are very opposite. So in my case, I've got white and black. Fold it in half, and as my students would say, we're folding it hamburger style, not hot dog. Go ahead and make your line across the side that has the opening. Here's the open side, here's the folded side. I'm going to scoot my ruler up closer to the top, so it's a little narrower band of paper that we're going to be left with. I'm going to use a color pencil so I can see the line a little better. There we go. And now I am going to draw my lines without the ruler, and I'm going to make them wavy. And I need to be careful to keep them far enough apart from the edge that when I cut it out, the whole thing doesn't fall off. So I'm going to make a wavy line, like so. Okay, so now I have a paper loom. Nice. All right, so how can we make this even more challenging? Well, when we do our strips, let's make those wavy too. Okay, you may have noticed that I'm lining these up as they would fit together, and this is going to help me when I'm weaving. So it's kind of like a puzzle, and what I would do is just set these maybe above or aside so that they're in order. Okay, so for those of you who are still saying, that's way too easy, give us more of a challenge. Okay, here you go. So take two opposite colors. I'm gonna do this one a little bit smaller because it's gonna take me longer to put together. Pick whichever one you want to be the folded one. Go ahead and fold it in half. Mark your guidelines on there. Remember, it's the open side, not the folded side. Okay, now I'm going to make some wavy lines, but this time I'm going to go a lot closer together. I'm going to try very hard to make this end up at the same distance as this one from the edge. All right, let's cut this out. So it's pretty nice as an artwork, just, with the patterns. But if you want to use this for something else, you're going to need to secure this somehow. If you're just going to use it as a weaving, then if you just put a little dot of glue underneath these end pieces, then it'll hold together. If you want to cut this apart, you're going to need to have glue across the entire back and then do like I did right here and just put a piece of paper across it. You could also turn this into a card. Once it's dry, you could fold it in half and it'd be a nice card for somebody to open, or put it maybe a cover for a book or something, or even turn it into your own sketchbook. This could be the cover. Okay, so you have your pieces and you've glued them down, and now you may be thinking, well, what can I do with these to make another piece of artwork? So you can take this piece and you can cut out shapes, and then we can glue it onto another piece of paper. What I think would be really exciting is to do an optical illusion in pen on this paper, then cut out your shapes and glue it on top, and you have this kind of really cool optical illusion piece that you've made using multiple media. So let's take a look at how that would look. So to make the optical illusion portion of this piece, let's take our micron pen or another pen, could be ballpoint, something with a really fine tip, and let's do the line optical illusion like we did yesterday. So I'm going to do a little variation of that. I'm going to draw a wavy line straight across the paper, and then the next line I do, I'm going to make it go in closer and then farther away. And I'm just going to keep doing that across the paper. Okay, so once you've cut out some of your pieces, you can start to play around with this and figure out, what looks really interesting. You could even use some of the negative space from this piece if you kind of carefully plan out, where you want things to go, maybe some kind of interesting mirrored effect. I think it's kind of cool just to play with these pieces. Okay, so I have gone ahead and cut out some of my paper weaving pieces and have glued them down. I still think my composition needs a little something. So I'm going to put some lines going behind these, and I'm going to actually turn those into a checkerboard to kind of match this piece over here. Here we go. Well, that's the end of the paper weaving. You should have a finished piece. Maybe you even tried this awesome piece here. Remember, no name, no fame. Be sure to sign your picture, and if you date it, then you'll remember when you made it. Till next time, this is Kendra Fleischman. Bye-bye.